You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14.
Right now it's 7. It was the last day of the Corporate Challenge in Pittsburgh. We're going to take you there to learn more about what exactly that is.
Also, multiple first responders team up and participate in an active shooter simulation.
And we've been dealing with dense fog across the area. Some of it's starting to burn off. We will take a look at that forecast and how great our Thursday is looking coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Caitlin O'Shaughnessy.
I'm Chris Warner. It is now just after 7 a.m. on this Thursday morning. It is Thursday, which means tomorrow is Friday.
We made it, Chris.
Have we?
Yes.
After Monday of this week, it has been a long week. Thankfully, all of our shows are on YouTube. So if you missed the Monday show, you can go back and see what we're talking about.
I wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah, not our best performance.
We're making up for it now, though. We're finishing strong.
We are. We've got a great show ahead for you. We got a lot about, we got back to school safety coming up.
Yes.
And there's a back to school event taking place in Pittsburgh we're going to have more on. And speaking of Pittsburgh, they had a specific challenge here recently.
Tell me all about that. Yesterday is the last day of activities for Pittsburgh's annual corporate challenge.
And KOAM's Amber Jenkins talked with a local business about their participation in that challenge.
Mahomes, construction workers, and lumberjacks are out for the final day of Pittsburgh's corporate challenge. One event is at Main Street Axe Throwing Company, but there's more events all over town.
Also at the same time what's going on is Talent Night at McCarthy's. We have Cornhole at 5th Street, and we have billiards down at Opie's.
The challenge is to get the community out for activities that promote team building and employee engagement. Last year, about 4 local businesses participated, but this year, there's 8 in total.
Like I said, tonight we're partnering with, I think, 4 different businesses tonight. And then we also partner with like Four Oaks Golf Course. We do bowling, so that goes to the bowling alley here. We try to stay local with everything.
One of the businesses participating is Main Street Axe Company. They hope this challenge would encourage the community to check them out.
Members of the community to experience our store before maybe they come in with their families or friends.
With one location in Pittsburgh for 5 years and another one in Joplin for 4, Main Street Axe Company says support like this from the community is impactful.
The Pittsburgh and Joplin communities are very supportive of Main Street Axe Company. We love working with them. Events like today is just, speaks of the support that the city has for us and other businesses that are participating in this week's event.
Reporting in Pittsburgh, Amber Jenkins, KOAM News.
And the city of Pittsburgh wants to remind you that shopping local all year benefits the community.
And there are a lot of great local places in our communities across the 4 states that are worth visiting. So no matter where you travel, make sure you stop in and support local business. And since you're new to the area, you've got an opportunity to really explore.
I will do my part. I promise you that. I love to shop.
There are some very unique places around the 4 states that you should check out. However, you may want to wait until this fog burns off because you're not going to be able to see the unique local places because we've been dealing with dense fog all morning. 7th Range Line has been showing some of that dense fog beginning to burn off. Now, earlier this morning, we couldn't even see the shopping center down there. That's how dense this fog was. As you can see, we still have fog out there, and it's still dense in areas, but it is slowly starting to clear. At least around the Joplin Metro, you can see from MoDOT cameras that we are starting to we're able to actually see things now that we could not see before, but you can also still see there is fog out there, even from the camera I-44 249. You go down a little bit, still fog. And checking in just south of Pittsburgh, sun's rising, but still dense fog here on 69 at East 520th Avenue, just south of Pittsburgh. That's really still some pretty dense fog out there. Our fog tracker around the region, Carthage, Mount Vernon, both reporting 0 visibility. Joplin officially reporting 0.2 of a mile visibility. Miami at about 1.5 miles. Pittsburgh is improving. Nevada, Stockton, both right about 0.5 mile visibility. So we mentioned earlier this morning, if you're on 69, 400, 160, 126, I-49, I-44, you need to slow down. Use your fog beams or your low beams. Do not use your high beams. And just be prepared for delays, especially on the highways as you run into some of this dense fog. As such, still have dense fog advisories, parts of northeast Oklahoma, southeast Kansas, and into southwest Missouri through 9 o'clock this morning to deal with said fog. In Joplin, of course, reporting the fog, 69 degrees, 96% humidity, and of course on that it says 0 mile visibility because anything under a mile it shows as 0. Temperatures this morning, not bad though. 64 in Iola, 66 Chanute, Fort Scott, Pittsburgh, 68 in Chitopa, 67 Miami, 68 Neosho, and 69 up in Carthage. As we get our morning started, we're going to hold on to the fog and the cloud cover a little bit through about 8 o'clock. That burns off and we go partly cloudy, mostly clear skies, pushing near 80 by late morning, and highs today, they're technically below average, not by much, but they are technically below average as we go mid to upper 80s under mostly clear to partly cloudy skies. So a very great Thursday ahead of us. We'll have another look at your forecast and the roller coaster ride of temperatures we're about to take here in a few more minutes. Caitlin?
Thanks, Chris. Well, the Knoll, Missouri man accused of shooting a dog with an arrow pled guilty in that case yesterday and has been sentenced. Authorities say while they couldn't prove that Jeffrey Howard shot the dog with the arrow, they could prove he didn't seek medical attention for it. So Howard pleaded guilty to failure to get medical care for a dog. He was sentenced to 30 days in jail and must pay $500 in restitution to a Knoll Animal Rescue. The dog, named Noelle, has since recovered from the incident. Her and her puppies were put up for adoption shortly after. And a 7-year-old boy is dead after what police in Missouri believe was an accidental shooting. This happened Monday in Berkeley, a suburb of St. Louis. Investigators say the shooting happened inside a truck. They're still trying to figure out who fired the shot.
When we see a situation like this, especially with a child, it's just unimaginable what this family and loved ones are going through. So obviously our prayers are with them.
It is unclear if anyone was in the vehicle with the boy. It was only a drill, but it was meant to look and feel like the real thing. An active shooter simulation in Neosho, Missouri yesterday was a joint exercise involving first responders from multiple agencies. The idea was to allow responder agencies to evaluate current procedures and make needed improvements for possible real-world events and worst-case scenarios.
Active shooters, basically. We've had some suicidal scenarios, active shooter. Basically, we've had wounded people, actors playing as wounded people, hostage rescue sort of thing. Communications is always a big issue between different agencies, and that's what they're working on to try to perfect, to make sure we can get through this if something ever happens, God forbid.
Are you guys office participants in the exercise included police, fire, and ambulance workers from various communities in the county, along with the Missouri Highway Patrol. And the Kansas Department of Transportation says it's stopping work on the US 69 corridor western alignment through Crawford County. The project would expand an 18-mile corridor of US 69 to a 4-lane freeway starting at the Cherokee-Crawford County line and continuing north of the city of Arma. It would have led traffic around many towns in the area, which led to a lot of pushback from residents and public discussions. KDOT says that pushback is the reason they're stopping that plan. They'll conduct a new survey to figure out the next steps later in the year. And a new report from Wallet Hub shines a less than flattering light on the states with the most underprivileged children. The report stems from August being Child Support Awareness Month and 1 in 6 children in the U.S. living in poverty. The couple of area states landed in the top 10, with Arkansas coming in at 6th and Oklahoma ranking 9th. The states with the highest rankings have the most underprivileged. Missouri ranked 25th, Kansas ranked 33rd, and Alaska claimed the dubious top spot, while New Jersey ranked the best in the nation. Up next, Dustin Luno from the Joplin Fire Department stops by to talk back-to-school safety.
And later, NASA works to send humans back to the moon. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Be right back, but first, we've got ourselves another live look from City Park in Columbus. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. 7-11 now on this Thursday morning here in the 4 states. We've been dealing with dense fog for most of the morning. The good news is it is progressively beginning to burn off, and we've still got some time before it's all gone. You can still see fog on the camera at 7th and Range Line. And let me step to this side, because if you look down Range Line, we still got some dense fog out there, but it has improved, at least in Joplin, because this morning we couldn't even see the shopping center down there. MoDOT cameras around the metro area showing improvements in the fog, but if you look, you can still see there's plenty of fog out there still. And from the KDOT camera at 69 East 520th, just south of Pittsburgh, the fog there not clearing up at all, unfortunately. It's still fairly dense this morning. And as we look at the fog tracker, you can see where that is, still reporting 0 visibility in Carthage and Mount Vernon, 0.2 of a mile officially in Joplin, 1.5 miles in Miami, 0.6 of a mile in Nevada and Stockton. So we mentioned earlier, 69, 400, 160, 126, I-49, I-44. You've got to make sure you're slowing down. Give yourself time to get where you're going this morning because of this dense fog. Also make sure you're not using your high beams in the dense fog. Use your low beams, and if you've got them, use your fog lights. Dense fog advisories continue through 9 a.m. for northeastern Oklahoma, parts of southeast Kansas, and into southwest Missouri. So again, can't emphasize enough, dense fog can be dangerous and potentially deadly, especially on the highways. You've got to slow down out there. We're sitting at 69 still in Joplin with 96% humidity out there. Around the region, again, temperatures this morning not so bad. We got 64 Iola and Parsons, 66 in Chanute, Pittsburgh, 68 Chautauqua, 67 Miami, 68 Neosho, and 69 in Carthage as we get this Thursday underway. Fog and the clouds sticking with us through at least 8 a.m., hence the fog advisories running through at least 9. Then we'll start to clear out and go partly cloudy to mostly clear by late morning, pushing near 80 by 11 a.m. Our highs today looking great. They're technically below average, but not by much. But at least we can say, hey, today's a below average day. So we go mid to upper 80s, mostly clear, partly cloudy skies out there. And we will continue to hold on to mostly clear skies as we head into the evening, still on the warm side, and eventually making it back down into the lower 70s overnight. And then we get onto the roller coaster ride. We talked about this earlier. This is what we're talking about. Tomorrow and Saturday, highs jump up mid-upper 90s. We got pop-up storm chances Friday through Monday, and then Sunday, temperatures begin to fall back a bit. We go low 90s, upper 80s, low 90s again on Tuesday. Then we head into Wednesday, and they turn right back around into the upper 90s near 100. Thursday, storm chances return next week, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and temperatures fall back again to right around 90 degrees. And then by Friday and Saturday, Mother Nature says, whoa, 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 hold on. It's August. And they turn right back around and go back into the upper 90s near 100. So we got a roller coaster ride ahead of us on these temperatures. Let's check your forecast. We'll be back with more right after this. But first, we got another live look from City Park in Columbus. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Joining us in studio today, Dustin Luno from the Joplin Fire Department. You're talking about back-to-school safety. Welcome to the show. We were just discussing this in terms of school zone safety, bus safety. You know, a lot of the school zones, especially in the Joplin area, are not very long.
No, they're not. You know, it's just a few seconds out of your day, but man, it makes such a difference in the safety of our children, and they're the most valuable asset that we have.
They certainly are. And so in terms of school zone safety, I mean, we can tell the drivers they need to pay attention, they need to slow down. You know, they've got to watch for those marked areas. But what about the students, those that are crossing the street? Because we know, unfortunately, not all the drivers are going to slow down.
You're right, unfortunately. You know, the students, it's one of the things that the school districts do work with the students about, you know, taking deep breath and looking both ways and slowing down. And the bus drivers do an amazing job of communicating that with the children. But, you know, our biggest concern is our student safety. We are highly vested in the safety of our, you know, citizenry. And it's something we take very, very serious to the point that you will never see a fire truck or ambulance or a police car that will pass a stop school bus. It will not happen. They will stop and they will yield even with their lights on until the school bus pulls their stop signs back and gives us a go-ahead, because our children are so valuable to us. Same thing with school zones. You know, we're permitted to do some things like you know, pass through red lights with caution after stopping. We will not speed through a school zone. We will do the marked speed limit in a school zone even with the lights and a siren on, because it's just so important to us to protect our children.
Right, and it's important for you all to slow down. You've got lights and sirens where the students maybe crossing could even hear you coming, but you're still slowing down. I feel like it's more essential for drivers to remember they've got to slow down too.
Right, they just, it's just a few seconds of your day. It's just a few moments, and it can literally be the difference between life and death. So take that opportunity, take a deep breath, and just pay attention to your surroundings. And make sure that our students get to school and back home safely.
And you were talking about school bus safety as well, what you all do in terms of school buses, but I mean it's important to, again, send that information to other drivers that they've got to stop for those buses.
Absolutely. Knowing your law, knowing your rules and regulations about when and where to yield to school buses. The safe bet is if you see those yellow lights come on, don't try to beat around the bus. Just slow down and stop. It's just going to take a few moments. The kids will get off, be safe back at home. And then we can continue on with our traffic.
Yeah, and that's the important thing. Like you said, the kids are the most valuable investment. We've got to slow down for them for sure. So, Dustin, thank you so much for coming in this morning. We appreciate it. And of course, we'll have this on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. And for heaven's sake, just slow down for the kids. We'll be back after this. Well, just how is the U.S. stacking up against the competition in the space race? NASA is working to send humans back to the moon, while other nations are making major efforts of their own.
Jonathan Seri has details.
Artemis II astronauts toured the crew module that will carry them on a 10-day mission around the moon and back.
And liftoff of Artemis I.
Concerns about the capsule's heat shield raised during an uncrewed test flight last year may push next year's astronaut mission into early 2025. And putting boots on the lunar surface may take even longer as NASA contractor SpaceX continues work on the prospective landing craft. More than half a century after America beat Russia to the moon, Russia and India are in a race to land uncrewed spacecraft near the lunar South Pole this month, and China plans to send astronauts by 2030. Ice discovered in that region could be used for life support or converted into rocket fuel for future missions to Mars. That has spurred demand for robot manufacturers to test how machines and ultimately humans can work for extended periods in this unexplored, super cold environment.
We're testing systems to minus 180 degrees C. So those are liquid nitrogen region temperatures. Those are significantly cold. There's some areas that look like they might be even colder than that on the moon.
Legal experts say the race for resources presents new challenges to a 56-year-old treaty that sets general guidelines for international space exploration.
A state like China or the United States cannot claim property on the moon, cannot claim territory on the moon. But what does that mean for commercial enterprises? And what does it mean when you want to go to the moon for a specific reason, like getting access to the water ice?
Concerns about the capsule's heat shield raised during an uncrewed test flight last year may push next year's astronaut mission into early 2020.
Well, experts warn China's ambitions could lead to potential conflicts on the moon, but they also point out how cooperation between the U.S. and Russia led to construction of the International Space Station.
Pretty impressive. I'm obsessed with outer space. I would definitely go to the moon if I had the opportunity.
As much as I love space and Star Trek, you could not get me in outer space, but it would be very exciting to see folks go back to the moon.
Absolutely. Well, coming up, while many of us never visit the icy continent of Antarctica, we'll have a look at the effects humans are having on it.
And we're still dealing with some fog across the area. This is a live look from outside the KOAM studios here on 69 in Kansas, and you can see some dense fog hanging out. We'll have another look at that forecast when we come back.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. The time now is 7:28 a.m. I'm Caitlin O'Shaughnessy. In today's top story, the National Safety Apparel, or NSA plant in Baxter Springs is preparing to button it up for good. The plant that employs about 63 people is closing on September 29th. In the meantime, it's gradually giving away its discounted apparel. Employees get first pick, and what's left will go to the public.
They will be giving away material, shirt material, jacket material, quilt, lining, knit, collars, welts, buttons, thread, zippers, anything it does take to make a jacket.
Before NSA bought the facility, it operated for years as the apparel manufacturer King Louie.
We've been dealing with dense fog across the area. Some of it's starting to burn off, and it'll continue to do so as we go through the morning. Our camera, 7th and range line. Again, earlier we couldn't even see the shopping center, but you can still see there is some fog out there. And if you look down range line, still some fog hanging out. And a look at MoDOT cameras around the metro area, and the fog is clearing, but it is still there. There's the fog from there and down I-44 from 249. Still some fog to contend with, and still some pretty dense fog on the Kansas side, just south of Pittsburgh. This is the KDOT camera at 69 and East 520th Avenue, and that fog's still fairly dense. Our fog tracker's still showing that. So you can see, though, Pittsburgh reporting about 4.7 miles visibility, but what's hiding behind the Pittsburgh label is the edge of that fog. So that's why Pittsburgh officially reporting halfway decent visibility. It's just as you go a little further south on 69 that it starts to get worse. Still a 1/10 of a mile visibility officially being reported in Joplin, 0 visibility, Carthage, Mount Vernon, and we're up to just under a mile in Nevada and Stockton, and just above a half mile in Miami. So we've been listing them: I-49, I-44, 249, 69, 160, 126, any of these highways, you got to slow down. Make sure you give yourself plenty of time to get where you're going. We'll have another full look at your forecast and how our Thursday's shaping up here in a few more minutes.
And yesterday was the final day of Pittsburgh's annual corporate challenge. The challenge is to get the community out for activities that promote team building and employee engagement. Last year, about 4 local businesses participated. This year, there's 8 in total.
Like I said, tonight we're partnering with I think 4 different businesses tonight, and then we also partner with like Four Oaks Golf Course. We do bowling, so that goes to the bowling alley here. We try to stay local with everything.
The city of Pittsburgh wants to remind you that shopping local all year benefits the community. And while many of us will never visit Antarctica, new research reveals we're still having negative effects on the icy continent thousands of miles away, with human-caused climate change causing levels of Antarctic sea ice to decline, which is having profound effects on global ocean temperatures. Gary Baumgarten takes a closer look at how the changes are already being felt in parts of the U.S.
According to new research published in the journal Frontiers in Environmental Science, Antarctica is not immune to extreme weather events linked to human-caused climate change, resulting in heat waves and further declines in Antarctic sea ice, which is already at record lows.
There are many parts of the Southern Ocean which usually experience sea ice formation, and it's just not growing at all.
And scientists say the rapidly declining sea ice is devastating ocean currents around the world, resulting in warmer ocean temperatures.
It has profound impacts on ocean circulation, primarily through what is called brine injection, where when we form sea ice, we create a saltier residual water left over that is cold and dense, and it sinks into the deep ocean, forming deep water. Without this formation of deep water, we can slow down ocean circulation, which ultimately transports heat across the planet. And so we can disrupt how planetary heat is distributed through ocean circulation.
The effects are already on display in the waters off the Florida Keys, where sea temperatures have been abnormally hot this summer.
The corals are not happy with this level of hot water. They are bleaching, a lot of them are dying.
And while carbon dioxide naturally exists on the planet, environmentalists say reducing fossil fuel use and production is critical to preventing even more Antarctic sea ice from vanishing.
When we burn these fossil fuels, that creates more rampant carbon dioxide. So that carbon dioxide is extra.
Gary Baumgarten, Fox News.
That's a look at our top stories today, and coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News, Pastor Talent from Victory Life Church in Pittsburgh stops by to tell us all about the upcoming back-to-school event happening.
And as we've been talking about, still look at this outside our station, dense fog to contend with. We'll have another look at your forecast when we come back, but first, here's a live look from City Park in Columbus.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Pastor Talent and Bill Green are here to tell us all about the back-to-school event happening in Pittsburgh, Kansas. Welcome to the show, gentlemen.
Welcome.
Well, we're pretty excited about this back-to-school event. It's quite the ordeal. Tell us about it.
Well, it's our 18th year of doing it. We have just found a great way to reach the community and support the community. We have a lot of community support. We're thankful for Evergy. As we shot our commercials this year, we plainly said bucket rides are back, baby. We are so excited for bucket rides.
Okay, now I've never heard of bucket rides. This is new to me. So tell us, what exactly is that?
Yes, Evergy's going to bring 2 bucket trucks that we go up in. We're going to set them up, and we're going to take kids or family, and we're going to take them up in a harness and lift them up 60 foot in the air, let them kind of see all over the area. The kids really enjoy it. Some kids will scrunch down as we go higher. Other kids just love to look out and see the views. So
yeah, a lot of photo opportunities, selfies. We've missed them. We have missed them.
And what other events and things can the kids expect?
It's a free swim night. We have 4 other churches involved this year. Everybody carrying a piece, which is great. We'll have free haircuts on the hill. We'll have
free haircuts. Oh, that's great. So they can go back to school ready and look good.
Back to school, backpacks and school supplies all packed and ready to go. UPS trucks will come out. They'll be out there all night with their trucks. Dunk a cop, shoot the fire hose, just all the community favorites. Everybody loves this community event. It's great.
It sounds amazing. I mean, you got everything going on there. How many kids are you expecting to turn out?
Well, we have 900 signed up as yesterday morning, so we are ready to keep going.
And where can kids go to sign up, or their parents?
Eventbrite, Facebook, vlifechurch.org is our website. Any of those will get you to where you need to go to sign up.
Wonderful, wonderful, guys.
Yes.
Well, it sounds like a hoot. I know that KOAM, we're excited to be there and see the community, but seems like everyone is going to be there, and there's plenty to do.
Yep. Well, we'll extend our invite to you. Come on out and grab a bucket ride.
Oh, yes. I will do a bucket ride. All right. Well, thank you guys so much. Make sure you check out the back to school event happening in Pittsburgh. I'm Caitlin O'Shaughnessy. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News, 7:40 now on this Thursday morning. Been dealing fog all morning, starting to clear out, looking better from 7th and Range Line. You can see the fog out there, though, still working to burn off. And if you go a little further down Range Line, still have some of that there. Joplin area Metro Cams from MoDOT, you can see fog is improving, but we still have it out there, especially from the MoDOT camera at I-44 and Main Street, and from the one at I-44 and 249, but it is improving. It is slowly beginning to improve now on 69 from the KDOT camera at 69 and East 520th Avenue, just south of Pittsburgh. Not really improving all that much here at the KOAM studios on 69, just north of Crestline, but this fog will eventually burn off, and we've got ourselves a pretty good Thursday ahead of us. Joplin now reporting 0 visibility officially. Remember, this report comes from the airport. Miami at 0.3 of a mile, Carthage at 0.9 of a mile. We've seen improvements now in Mount Vernon and in Nevada and Stockton, but still dense fog out there, so you've got to make sure you're taking it slow. And dense fog advisories, parts of northeast Oklahoma, southeast Kansas, southwest Missouri. These continue through 9 a.m. Right now in Joplin, we have a decent start outside of the fog. 69 degrees out there. The temperatures around the area pretty reasonable so far. 65 Iola and Parsons, 66 Chanute, up to 68 Pittsburgh, Lamar, Nevada, 69 in Carthage, and 72 now in Chetopa. We get our morning started. Again, we're going to have the fog to contend with. They're about 8, 9 o'clock. That burns off. We're partly cloudy, mostly clear, upper 70s by late morning. Highs today look great as we go into the mid to upper 80s, technically below average, but not by much, but still a fairly decent day. Mostly clear skies out there. Mostly clear heading into the evening. Still warm, but otherwise not bad, and a great night ahead of us, too. Back in the low 70s, once again, under mostly clear skies. That is ahead of pop-up storm chances Friday through Monday, and Friday and Saturday, temperatures shooting up there, mid to upper 90s. Then we cool back down Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, back into the upper 80s, lower 90s, and then by Wednesday, we turn around. We're hot again, back into the mid-upper 90s, pushing close to 100 degrees. So got a little bit of a roller coaster ride ahead of us. That is a check of your forecast. We're going to send it over now to Caitlin for Consumer Watch.
Thanks, Chris. Well, in Consumer Watch this morning, a company famous for operating co-working spaces, WeWork, is struggling to stay afloat. WeWork says it has substantial doubt about its future. The company's second quarter earnings release shows that the uncertainty is due to the company's net losses, projected cash needs, and increased member turnover. Members pay to rent desks at WeWork's office spaces. Management has outlined a turnaround plan to improve the company's financial health over the next year. WeWork says it will try to negotiate lease terms to lower rent costs and increase revenue by reducing canceled memberships. WeWork said it will also attempt to raise more money by issuing debt or equity securities. And the price of your morning glass of OJ is going up. Analysts say orange juice futures are hitting record highs because of bad weather, a citrus disease, and short supply. Prices usually hover around $1.80 per pound, but futures soared to $3 a pound. Most orange juice comes from Florida, but last year's hurricanes, along with a late freeze, took out a large amount of crops. A disease called citrus greening is also wiping out orange trees, and the USDA predicted a decline in production of about 51% this year. And watching your favorite Disney, Star Wars, or Marvel content is going to cost more soon. Disney is planning to significantly raise prices on its Disney Plus streaming service. Starting October 12th, the monthly cost for ad-free version of Disney Plus will go from $10.99 to $13.99. That announcement came Wednesday as Disney also reported revenue struggles in its third quarter. Disney Plus has lost subscribers in the U.S. and Canada, and it remains unprofitable, though it has managed to add subscribers overseas. The same is true for Disney Parks. Attendance at Disney World in Florida is down, but growth at parks in other countries has helped grow revenue. Subscription rates for Hulu, which Disney owns a majority of, are also increasing by $3 per month. And from car loans to credit cards, a new consumer credit report shows Americans' credit card debt is at a record level, hitting $1 trillion for the first time ever. So what can you do if you're struggling to pay off debt? Cole Higgins has 3 tips to help you get back on track.
Americans' borrowing habits reaching a historic milestone. For the first time ever, credit card debt levels have surpassed $1 trillion. That's according to data released Tuesday by the Federal Reserve Bank of New York.
What we're seeing here is more people carrying more debt. The New York Fed says credit card balances are at a record high for longer periods of time.
Meanwhile, a new bank rate survey finds 47% of U.S. credit card holders are currently carrying credit card debt month to month. It comes as interest rates have soared to levels not seen in over 2 decades.
The average credit card charges about 20.5%. So there are definitely some worrisome signs there.
Ted Rossman, senior analyst at Bankrate.com, has 3 tips for people holding a lot of credit card debt. 1, try the avalanche method. List your debts from the highest to lowest interest rate, make the minimum monthly payment on each, and then invest all your extra cash toward paying off the highest interest debt. Repeat until you've paid all your debts down. 2, consider a zero balance transfer credit card. It allows you to transfer your existing high-cost debt over to a new card and pauses the interest clock for up to 21 months.
For those 21 months, the ability to avoid interest is really powerful. That could save you hundreds, maybe thousands of dollars, depending on how much you owe.
And 3, get your spending under control. Bankrate suggests focusing on basic necessities and obligations and delaying major purchases like cars.
Well, we'll be right back with more news after this, but first, let's take a look at the market prices before the opening bell. Well, this next story is a scream, literally. It's about a wildlife encounter on a massive slide in Utah that was caught on camera.
As Jeannie Moose reports, it was a near miss that became an online viral hit.
It's called the Alpine Slide, but the ride wasn't what made Smiling Sage suddenly scream bloody murder.
I was screaming, I was terrified, but I was also super excited because I was like, what an experience. Like, this never happens to anyone.
Yeah, how often do you have a near miss with a badger while hurtling down a track at the Park City Mountain Resort in Utah? Sage Butt screamed her butt off, and yes, that is her real name.
I've been teased about that my whole life. Learned to accept it. I love it. It's fun.
At first, Sage thought the critter was a raccoon. Whatever it was.
You actually braked for the badger. I thought I was going to hit it. It was going to roll on top of me. Oh, yeah, but I pulled that brake as hard as I could.
As she continued down the mountain, all she could do was encourage the badger to get off the track.
Come on! You got it, buddy! Oh my God!
It managed to escape. Badgers have gotten a bad rap.
The honey badger is really pretty badass. They have no regard for any other animal whatsoever. Oh, they're so nasty.
Who do you think was more freaked out, you or the badger?
I think I freaked that badger out more than it freaked me out for sure.
Badgers have bad eyesight and good hearing, so imagine what the poor badger saw and heard. She may have badgered that badger, but at least it didn't end up as roadkill. Jeannie Mose, CNN, New York.
Badger.
Yeah, we were just thinking about that. Some of you out there know what we're talking about. Some of you are sitting at home going, what is wrong with the two of them?
Oh, no. Badger. Old school, like early YouTube videos, badgers
Back
were.
when they used to, you could only be like 10 minutes long.
Right?
You know,
Oh, my gosh.
It was a different time. You kids today have no idea what the internet was like. And of course, there's some folks out there that are looking at us going, you have no idea what it was like when there was no internet.
Right?
You couldn't Google things. You had to actually read in order to figure it out. You had to have
Absolutely.
books, so
Absolutely.
there were a lot of changes, but badgers for sure. Well, all right. What's kind of also changing is our fog situation this morning. We're starting to see some improvements. Our camera at 7th and Range Light starting to look better. Still some fog in the distance. MoDOT cameras around the metro area showing fog improvements as well, but still some out there. And the KDOT camera at 69 and East 520 and south of Pittsburgh also showing some improvement on the fog. Our camera, though, here at the KOAM studios is not showing much improvement in the fog, but don't worry, this will continue to burn off as the morning progresses. Dense fog really confined now into Cherokee County, Ottawa, Craig County, and into Jasper and parts of Newton County. Joplin reporting 0 visibility. We're looking at 9/10 of a mile visibility in Carthage. Dense fog advisories continue. Northeast Oklahoma, southwest Missouri, parts of southeast Kansas through 9 a.m. We'll have another look at our Thursday forecast and how great this day is going to be once the fog is gone. And we'll take a look at the news you need to know right after this.
And here's a check at today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. The Knoll, Missouri man accused of shooting a dog with an arrow pled guilty in that case yesterday and has been sentenced. Authorities say while they couldn't prove that Jeffrey Howard shot the dog with the arrow, they could prove that he didn't seek medical attention for it. So Howard pleaded guilty to failure to get medical care for a dog. He was sentenced to 30 days in jail and must pay $500 in restitution to a Knoll Animal Rescue. An active shooter simulation in Neosho, Missouri yesterday was a joint exercise involving first responders from multiple agencies. The idea was to allow responder agencies to evaluate current procedures and make needed improvements for possible real-world events. The sheriff says yesterday's drill helped expose some potential communication problems between responders that need to be corrected. And the Kansas Department of Transportation says it's stopping work on the US 69 corridor western alignment through Crawford County. The project would expand an 18-mile corridor of US 69 to a 4-lane freeway starting at the Cherokee-Crawford County line and continuing north of the city of Arma. It would have led to traffic around many towns in the area, which led to a lot of pushback from residents and public discussions. KDOT says that pushback is the reason they're stopping that plan. They'll conduct a new survey to figure out the next steps later on this year. The National Safety Apparel, or NSA, plant in Baxter Springs is preparing to button it up for good. It's closing on September 29th. And before NSA bought the facility, it operated as the apparel manufacturer King Louis. It employs about 63 people, and under its various incarnations, the plant has been a Baxter Springs staple for years. As the plant prepares to close, it's gradually giving away its discounted apparel, like jackets and shirts. Employees will get the first pick, but whatever's left will go to the public.
After our morning fog burns off, got a pretty decent Thursday ahead of us. Partly cloudy, mostly clear skies. Temperatures warming into the mid to upper 80s across the area. And we'll stay warm and clear through the evening. Maybe a few passing clouds. Otherwise, not bad. Overnight lows tonight back into the lower 70s. We start to heat up as we go into tomorrow and Saturday. Temps mid to upper 90s. And we have pop-up storm chances tomorrow through Monday. Temperatures take us on a roller coaster ride, though. Then we cool back to upper 80s, lower 90s Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday before we return to the upper 90s to near 100 by Wednesday.
All right, well, today we celebrate the ferocious king of the jungle.
Today is World Lion Day. The holiday was founded to bring awareness to the declining population of lions. It's estimated that less than 50,000 are left in the wild because of poaching and hunting.
To celebrate World Lion Day, visit a zoo or donate to a wildcat rescue. You can also watch everyone's favorite lion movie,
yes,
The Lion King.
So I've got a note in my baby book from many moons ago. That was the first movie my mom took me to a theater to see.
The Lion King?
Was The Lion King.
Oh my gosh.
I don't remember this at all, but she took me to what used to be known as Crown Cinema. Then it was Cinema 6. Now it's a parking lot, but that was the first movie I ever saw. I do not remember.
How special.
Yeah,
Good
so
for you.
get out there and watch The Lion King and all the other ones as well. Might as well, right? It's National Lion Day.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for letting us put the good in your morning. We will be back with more news and weather today at noon.
Have a great morning and an even better day. We'll see you soon.